All right, so in that case, I'm going to get started. Just to make sure that we're on schedule in case we have extra questions. So thank you, first of all, for everyone who is attending the AI Academy for this session. So a couple of housekeeping things to get going in order. So looking at the safe harbor, making sure that you understand that this is the forward-looking statements and these are all assumptions. So do not um, basically use this as any information to make sure that, hey, all of this are just, all risk factors. These are part of all the areas that we want to move forward that in the future, as well as some of the stuff that's happening now. So I just want to make sure that people understand that some of the stuff here are pretty, some of the stuff we might be discussing can be pretty sensitive. Just want to make sure that this doesn't mean anything that's very specific to what we're going to do, how it affects all of our future endeavors. So first of
Hey,
all,
Hey, George. One thing before we continue with everyone here, I think you can leave it on this slide, and it's fine to call it the forward-looking statement, not to make purchases decision in the future. But I think the session was originally scheduled to start at 8:30,
oh really? Okay,
7 minutes. So maybe we hold off for another, you know,
7 minutes. Sure.
yeah, or so to let more folks trickle in, and then we can get going.
Sounds good to me. Okay.
And maybe flip back to getting started soon slide. There we go.
All right. I think it's 8:30. I guess we can get started. So Victor, do you want to kick us off? I can kick us off as well.
I can go ahead and kick us off. Thank you everyone for joining. Welcome to the AI Academy. We can go ahead and get started. Can you flip over the next slide, please? So we may be mentioning roadmap items today. So if so, please take note of our safe harbor statement. Next slide. So some Academy basics for this Academy is ultimately for you, our audience. And it is being recorded and it will be uploaded to YouTube. So afterwards you can catch up on this again or share this with your friends and colleagues. And of course, you're also welcome to ask questions. So please use the Q&A panel to ask your questions as we go throughout the session, and our panelists will answer them. Next slide. So today, for part of AI Academy, we have a special guest here, and George Wu, product manager for Subscription Manager, and we will be talking today about your go-to guide for managing Now Assist compliance. So Now Assist, as many of you know, is our generative AI product, but you want to know, like, hey, how do I track the usage? How do I track my subscription for Now Assist? Well, this is what today is all about. Next slide, is that the agenda?
That's right.
Cool. Take it away, George.
Yeah, so for this agenda today, we have three main sections. the first one is an overview of everything that you will see in the rest of the deck. It should take about 10 minutes. Then the second one, I'll be basically going through the stuff you're seeing in a demo environment. Again, these are demo data, so not everything going to be super like consistent, but just kind of give you an idea. That also take about 10 minutes. And at the end, I will leave about 10 minutes for questions for all the panelists on the call. So first of all, I want to make sure that, hey, when is GenAI assess usage and the auditability rules available? So what's important is that, hey, once you have Washington and Plus, you're able to get subscription management that has GenAI assess usage. So that means that if you have Vancouver before, even if you upgrade to the subscription management version 2, you might not still have that feature. So you want to upgrade your instance to Washington and above, then you will get the feature for GenAI assist and usage information. Now, so one of the things is there are two specific things I want to mention that we're showing. First of all, we're showing both on the account level and the instance level. So what does that mean? So what that means is you will see on the instance level, this instance currently on that you're looking through, all the usage that's reported in the last year or so. And also, not only that, you'll also see which instance this also mapped to in terms of account. And under that account, what are all the neighboring instances that contributes to the number of usages on the account level? So you can see, you can basically add up all the instance levels, usages, and we'll see a final number at the account level for transparency. And again, it only works, however, I want to take note again, is that you have to be on Washington and above on the family release. So there's a couple of things I mentioned earlier. There are basically 2 meters. One is at the instance level and one is the account level. So basically, we are looking at all the usages that happens in the last year, so last 365 days. It doesn't matter in terms when the instance was used or when it was happened. All doesn't matter. You just need to know that every day it's being used, that is in last year, we will be adding that total number up. So that means on the 366th day, we were only looking at the day from day 2 to day 366. So here's an aggregate of basically a summary of everything. I'll go to every section in detail. So they're basically broken into 5 major sections. The first one, as I mentioned earlier, will show on the account level what all the things you have purchased, what have been used, what's left over. Second one is all the usages for different assists. Third one is the subscription section. Fourth is the current instance you're on, as well as last one is the usage that's broken down on daily and monthly cycle. So now I'll dig deeper into specific ones and know that each sections are, you will see that on both the production and the sub-production instance views. So looking at the high level now on the account level summary, so you can see the 3 main sections. One is the total purchase, basically asks and add up all the entitlements that you have in your subscriptions across all your instances, and that number is there. Also, it tracks the last year of usage and put that in the second box. And lastly, it shows you how many that's available, which is basically the first number, subtract the second number, and get a third number. So on the left side, you'll see a list of instances. I grayed out that area for privacy reasons. So you can see that, hey, it'll show you how many instances you have, and also tells you, is it a production instance or sub-production instance? As well, it tells you when the data was last updated. So you know that, hey, how accurate or how up-to-date the number of used assists is for each of the instances. So you can see here that you are able to see all of them on the right side, a number of assists for each instances, only if you are on Washington and above. One thing I also want to call out is that we also allows you to prevent sharing of information across instances for whatever reason that you want it to be, and that will be that can be discussed a little bit later on what that looks like in the demo. So next section, which is the subscriptions. So you see that here, all of it is basically in one section, and all of them are, in across different instances. For example, IT, SM, Pro Plus. You will not have duplicates, right? So you can see from this line item, it is coming from two different instances, and they're also shown here. So I have a holistic view of everything that you have on the account level. So next one is basically tells you, hey, every single skills I have used. So it tells you that, hey, within last year, you have used 9 skills. And within those skills, on the second column, it tells you how many times you activated the skill. And the third column, we call it assist ratio, which basically tells you, hey, based on that ratio, each action, how much assist you're consuming. Because all of us purchase assists, right? So then in that case, we're measured by assists. So you can see that depending on the skills you use, the cost of the assist is different. So you take the number of actions times the assist ratio, you get the total assist that's being consumed. This also, if you want to go deeper, we can break it down based on your daily or monthly usage. Again, all of it is also still at the yearly cycle. So you only see this data across the past year. So if you don't see anything beyond, if you don't see the full year, that means there's no data in the beginning. So you probably didn't start your subscription until a couple months ago. But this will break it down based on 2 scenarios, the monthly and daily. So this is, again, a summary of what's shown earlier of every section that I went through. However, there's one area I haven't gone through is, the section with the total use assist. If you click an account level, when you click that, you actually get this graph. So this graph tells you how much you have purchased across all the areas throughout the entire past year, but also what's your accumulated usage in that entire past year. So you know exactly what day you're over and what day you're under over the past year. So now we're going to transition to the demo and the demo now section, and I think we're good on time. Let me do and show. And, okay. So I'm assuming everyone can still see my screen. Now we're on a demo environment. So right now we're on subscription management. So to see your status is you go to account entitlements. Here you will see a list of all the account entitlements we have. So for the purpose of this session, I'll focus a bit more on usage. So we can click, there are 2 entry points. One, you can click here to get into that view. Alternatively, you can click on subscriptions and click here as well. That'll take you to that view as well. So in this case, you can see that, hey, for this demo instance, the total purchase, total use assist, and available assist, right? So this one minus this one equals to this number. So one thing I also want you to know is for this number, it's added up based on this section. So if you add up all the numbers here, it should give you that total number here. Similarly, the total use assist should be available if you add all number here. But you see here, you see the thing I mentioned earlier about data sharing restricted. So by default, there are 2 things. One is we do not allow data sharing between production to sub-productions. So since this is a sub-production instance, by default, data sharing is active. And the reason they are active is because for whatever reason, we want to make sure that your data is protected. And at the same time, we want to make sure that you can also have the option to change them if you want to. So if you feel comfortable changing, allow every instance to talk to each other for the data transmission, we have a link here that allows you to tell you how to activate that, manage that. So when you click this, it will take you to a documentation on how to do that. So I won't go into too much detail on what to do in terms of activating the data sharing activity, but that also gives you an additional layer of privacy in case that you don't want to share all the data across each other. However, the number that's being tracked will still be populated at the top here. And similar thing is here, I mentioned before, here we can track by the skills, number of total used assists, as well as daily and monthly. Here we can see there's monthly as well a daily toggle. So we can see both. And one thing I mentioned earlier as well is that, hey, there's additional things that's interesting. When you click view details, so you can see a banner that tells you when was this data last updated for this chart. So you can see the purchase going up and down based on the expiration day, or there's changes in any total purchase SKUs, and also the usage of the last year. So you can see that when it will be over, when it will be under. For the most part, I imagine for most of you, this line, the green line, should be pretty consistent and stagnant over the past year until there is a change. You want to buy more assist, or you want to create additional, or you end up wanting to basically change your contract in some extent. So since we are still having some time, I want to quickly touch upon the creators as well. So one of the things is another skill that related analysis is creators. So everything else pretty much the same on the bottom. One thing I want to call out is mainly the top section. So here we have basically the way to tell you how many you have purchased. That also goes down to the section here. These are user license. And the second one you notice here is distinct allocated users. So what that means is that since analysis creator SKUs are basically every kind of SKU that you create, that you basically purchase across all your instances, but the user can use it across all the instances too. However, we don't want to double count them and overcharge you guys, right? So in this case, we have a method that allows us to actually pinpoint what are the distinct users across all the instances. So you don't have to do the math yourself. And from that, we are able to showcase that here. And that, of course, the last one is a difference between the first one and the second one. And if you can see that this number is red now, red means that you're in the negative. So it'll be good for you to see, okay, how can I get back into compliance before I get a huge surprise in the end of year, right? So we don't want surprises to happen as much as possible. So hopefully that when you see something that's red, when it calls out that, hey, you are going to be need to be more mindful of allocating users, or need to buy additional subscription to be in compliance. And one thing I do want to touch upon as well, just kind of quick glimpse, is if you upgrade to Xanadu and above, you get a one additional feature that you might be interested in, is that we have a cloud capacity feature that basically measure all your usages across all the areas on your instances. So just a quick thing that if you do upgrade to Xanadu and above, not only will you get Gen AI Assist and creator usage, but also the cloud capacity usage on how much terabytes you have used on your instances. So I think that's it for the demo. I am going to change back to the Q&A. Cool. I think we're good on time. We have about 14 minutes for Q&A. Any questions?
So, George, we have a few questions that have come in. We'll start with an easy one to come through. What's the ETA for Xanadu for GTM, or for GA? When does Xanadu get released?
So, I'm trying to think.
So the EA is out now. Early availability is out now, so you actually should be able to go upgrade your subprods, although you may have to agree to that to get in. And then GA general availability for everybody should be early next month. I actually don't have the date in front of me. I was Josh was
In front of me either. I know something.
10th, September 10th is general availability. But again, you can get it on a PDI today. You can. It is available for early availability to go through. So you should be able to start taking a look at it now. And George, once they upgrade to Xanadu, do they need to upgrade specifically for cloud capacity, will they need to go after they do the Xanadu update? Will they need to go update subscription management again, or will that be automatically updated?
Yeah, so they didn't need to upgrade that again. So for up to Xanadu, you're able to go into the store and update the subscription management. So right for Yokohama Beyond, it will be there automatically, but for Xanadu, you still need to update. So similarly for GenAI, even though it's on Washington, you do have to go into the store and update the subscription management application to get that feature. If you once you're on Xanadu, then that feature is there automatically. So same thing, there's a little bit of delay for GenAI. You have to on Washington, you have to get a new version manually, and then it will be automatic in Xanadu. And for cloud capacity, you have to get a manual update for Xanadu, and then it will be automatic starting Yokohama.
And that's true. So subscription management, just like all of the Gen AI stuff, is available in the store. So while when you upgrade, you do get you do get upgraded to a version. It might be a few months old, and then to get the latest and greatest, you'll always want to go in the store. And so whether we do store releases, we generally do store releases 4 times a year in February, May, August, and November. So their subscription management almost always has a new version available to them that is backward compatible if it's possible, that you can go get the latest version. The Gen AI stuff is released at least quarterly and sometimes more frequently than that, given the speed of change. So hopefully everybody on this call is used to grabbing those things, but you'll upgrade to Xanadu, refresh what's available, and then you can go get the new version. But you'll want to do that to get the latest and greatest for all the stuff we're talking about today.
That's right.
Victor, this one might be for you. Is it possible in a subprod instance to go through the motions of summoning an assist, but block the actual remote call, block the call so that we don't get billed?
It is not. So if subprod instances consume assists, then testing in subprod will also consume assists.
Yeah, I think generally that'd be true. The only thing I could see is if you were using it in a flow, your flow could do something. You could in your flow you could look you could block it and have some test data or something, but the cost per assist is pretty low. So hopefully you're not testing 100 times the volume that you're going to do in production. So I probably would just test in subprod, make sure everything is working right, that you're getting the answers that you're expecting correctly, and then go forward.
I'll also add that some features, if not now, then perhaps in the future, will have preview options, and you should take advantage of those as well.
Yeah. So ostensibly just use it. Hopefully you have the way that everything is scoped out. You should have had plenty of assists to be very comfortable through all your testing and not make a significant impact, a significant dent into your assists. Related to that, if somebody wants to answer this one, as we were talking about, we see the total purchased assists across all of my instances, as George talked about that. So if I purchased 1 million assists and I use them all in a subprod for development and testing, what happens?
So right now, I do not believe that we block you from using it. However, that you will be properly actively reached out to make sure that, hey, you're in compliance. You don't want to get a surprise bill, because I know most of us, the feedback we got from several customers, including yourselves, is that, hey, Assist is pretty expensive based on all the subscriptions. So you don't want a huge bill coming at you right at the last minute. So it will be good if you can proactively manage it to make sure that, hey, I'm going in compliance along the way.
So I'll add to that we don't turn stuff off, right? Stuff that's running. Our general philosophy for everything we do in terms of compliance is we're not going to turn something off because you go over. Whether that's you created, I have 1,000 fulfillers and you create 1,002, you can, right? We don't force that. We'll true up later. Whether it's integration hub, whether it's assists, we do everything we can to ensure your business continuity and don't turn you off. However, the reason we're giving you this visibility is so you can manage that. Now, again, the number of assists we're giving should be, we should all be looking at it, we should be conscious of it. You can see the number of assists per action where George showed you. You'll see that in subscription management on what the things are. So whether it's code assist or incident summarization or case summarization, you'll see those things there. You also see that was part of the schedule in the contract about how many assists per action are there. So you should be aware of it and you should be conscious. But we do not expect at all that you're going to burn through all of these in your testing, that you're going to burn through all of them in a month. The way that it is scoped out, the way that what we expect is that it will take you a year to burn through that many assists, right? We're selling you the number of assists per year, I believe is normally where it's scoped at. If in a month you've gone through 20% of that, then we should talk about how do we buy more assists, right? Or plan for that a year from now. I'd have a hard time believing you're going to burn through a year's worth in a month, but keep looking, right? It's something like through everything we have with subscription management, we want to give you that visibility so we don't have any surprise bills. George just said it, and nobody likes surprises when it deals with subscriptions, right? That is not anything anybody on this call wants. So you have this visibility now to see it and manage it. And look, right, if I'm 6 months into my contract and I've burned 40% of my assists, I'm great. But if I burned 80% of my assists in that 6 months, we need to figure out what it's going to be. And it is up to you whether you're going to reduce the number of assists you're using or whether you're going to buy some more assists, right? But that visibility now is coming, is there, right? George showed you that you can start seeing it daily. Daily is a bit hard to manage, but you'll see that trend growing, and it is something that you'll want to be checking in on a somewhat regular basis, right? Maybe that's bi-weekly, maybe that's monthly, and go through it. But it is against all of your subprods. And by the way, the reason for that is not so much for the dev and testing. It's because of creator, and all the creator things actually only get used in subprod. So the way that it's priced, the way that it was scoped, we expect that or we are summing them up across all of your instances. And we can talk more about that, but it should not be a problem. Just make sure you keep your eye on it. We wanted you to have that visibility so you're not surprised. So a question came in about an unlimited license. I would say that if for licensing, you have to talk to your account team on what's available. I'm sure they would all want to work with you on what comes through. Most of us on this call are dealing with what our standard licensing is. But if there's a model that needs to work for you, I would talk to your account team on what's available and what can be done for your situation. And we have a couple minutes. George, I have another question for you about cloud capacity. Can you quickly talk about what the cloud capacity is measuring?
Sure.
Is it, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Cloud capacity is basically used on, so when you have an instance or you buy this storage, in terms of how much you can use throughout your entire instance. So there are two different basically environments that usually customer purchase. One is shared, one is dedicated. So within those environments, you will usually have some sort of capacity that you purchase that you can use for all your testing or your development, everything you can think of of usage, or having a number of applications on there and implementing them. So there's a limit to how much you can use based on your purchases. So once you go over, guess what? You will be getting you'll be out of compliance, and then you will have to basically either put yourself back in compliance, or you have to buy additional. We would be surprised that during our conversation, right? So we don't want surprises again. So in this case, we want to make sure, hey, you know exactly how much you're using throughout the entire area. And again, the usage is a bit different. Unlike Assist is last year, for cloud capacity is based on your current usage. So how much you're using it now. So that way, if you go over, for whatever reason, you can proactively see, okay, how can I actually reduce my storage? Kind of like Google, right? Google Mail, they give 15 gigabytes of free storage, or you buy 100 gigabyte or whatever. But if you want to optimize it, you can then say, okay, I'm getting close to a limit, I'm over a limit now, let me optimize it. So that will give you a visibility on how you can actually make sure that do you really need to buy additional capacity, or you can optimize your existing storage capacity at the current environment.
And I'll add on, you're not going to get an error that you're out of space, right? we're showing you what's in there, and then we'll true up. And that will give you the choice, as George said, you want to buy more or do you want to use less? You know, can we go get rid of attachments from 6 years ago? Do we want to run some table cleaners and clean some logs that we don't need that data, you know, that's 24-month-old logs that we don't need anymore? Those are all things. I think what we're trying to get through in subscription management is to give you the visibility so that you can manage your subscriptions. We have a contract, we've agreed on space, on assists, on users, on what we expected. We want you to have that visibility so that then you can decide what the right option is for you, and get that in as close to real time as possible. So when you want to see it, your questions are answered. But disk space is like assists. You don't get turned off because you hit a limit.
And there's no default limits because based on how much you purchase. So everyone's limit will be different.
Well, yeah, read your contract, right? And it's in subscription management. We'll show you what your contract is. And if you have questions about it, reach out to your account team. If you know, and that can happen if you know your business changes, right? We've added a bunch of users. We onboarded a new process. It's always good to do a bit of a check about what we expect it to be. And then there's a question in here, because can we put a limiter on to not go over? So our philosophy is we're not going to block you from working. In many of the situations, you can, though. So whether it's users and putting a workflow we have a different academy session on using a workflow to manage your subscriptions to make sure people don't get added to a group if I don't have a license for them. We don't stop you at ServiceNow, but you may want to stop that. Disk space, we don't have a block on that because, again, the idea of I can't insert an incident because I'm out of disk, so I can't have an attachment, scares me a lot. So we don't have that. But with subscription management, you can see it. This data is in a table in your instance, so you absolutely can view it in subscription management, but you could also write some alerts on it. You could have a job that will go through and tell you what's going on. In subscription management, you will see insights. We'll warn you and try to pull some of that stuff in there for you. And I think George showed the safe harbor, and the safe harbor slide, we're trying to surface this information to you more cohesively, easier in the admin center. So when you go in and go, hey, did you know your disk space went up 8% last month? That's not there today, but those are the types of things we want to put in there so that you have your eyes on that, so you don't get put into a pinch, right? Let's tell you about what's going on, where you're trending, what those where those numbers are. When I've hit 80%, tell me so that I have a couple months to either procure some more or to manage those disk space so we don't run into any point of friction. But that's looking at the subscription overview, which is, you go to admin, you click on subscription management, you'll see it there. I highly recommend that you get the latest subscription management. George and his team have done an awesome job of getting a lot new content in there, a lot of information. Make sure you're familiar with what's in there and how to use it. There's some great training in Now Learning, which does not have this new stuff in there, but it has a lot of everything else that's in there. Go take that training, watch it, and then again, you can create some reports and notifications if you want to get a message in Teams, or you want to get an email, or just look at your dashboard. However, whatever makes sense for you and your org, you have that ability to do it because this information is in your instance. You don't have to rely on calling your account rep to get this information to you, 3 weeks from now. And I believe that I have taken all of our time. George, is there anything else? Oh, we have one more question. Let me. Thought we had a question. I think it went away. George, is there anything else you want to wrap up with?
I think we're good overall. Just one thing I want to make sure double call out is the versioning. To get assist, you have to be on Washington and above. To get a manual, you got to do manual download of the application. But once you have Xanadu, then it should be automatically within your instance once you upgrade.
Until the next quarter when we have new updates, right? So make sure you're going to the store and updating. Go to the app manager and grab the latest version, subscription management, Gen AI, lots of great stuff in there. I will put a plug-in as well. I believe once you close out of here, you're going to get a survey. If you can, please fill that out and let us know how we're doing and how we can improve. That helps us help you as we go forward. All right. Thank you. And I guess we'll see you next time.
Thank you, everybody.
Have a great day.
Everyone.